Is the goal just to create more Democratic voters? What is it? Is it bleeding heart liberalism? Why would they be allowing this kind of crisis to emerge from our South and now be bussed up to the North, such that virtually all these major cities are going to feel the pain?
Now, people ask me this question a lot, and I've reflected on it a great deal because people want to know, how is it possible that a entire administration and all the members of Congress who support that administration and all of the outside groups that support that administration could be so willingly complicit in a policy that's yielding so much human misery? You have human trafficking, sex trafficking, and labor trafficking, as even the New York Times documented, particularly with minors, on a scale that has never been witnessed before. Hundreds of thousands of minors have been trafficked into the country. You have the fentanyl deaths setting records year after year, families being separated in a permanent and irrevocable way, where the only way they can visit loved ones is at a cemetery, at a graveyard. And then you have gangs that have operational control of our territory, that are abusing people and murdering people on both sides of the border, the destruction of the labor market for the working class and the working poor, and the decimation of our healthcare system and our education system, to name but a few social ills. And I think the answer is exactly what you said, and it's very straightforward. California was once the most conservative free state in the country. If you wanted to live the American dream, you wanted to get your family in the station wagon, drive across country, and just strike out and see if you could start a small business or get a good job or just earn a good living, you went to California. That's what you did. And this was the state that not only elected Reagan governor, but also voted in presidential elections for conservatives for national office for almost the entirety of the 20th century up until 1992. And that was the tipping point. And from 1992 until today, only leftists for the highest office in the land. And the reason for that is because mass migration turns politics leftward. And there's a lot of reasons why. I mean, one is that people who come from countries that have no history of limited government and no experience with limited government don't find that to be intuitive. So that's one reason. Just the actual voters themselves, they would say, well, why wouldn't I vote for higher taxes on someone who's not me to give services to somebody who is me, right? That's intuitive. Mm-hmm. It's very intuitive to say, there's people who are richer than me, so I'll tax them more, and then you're going to give me more money, right? That's intuitive. It's not intuitive, what we have or have had in America, to say, if more people who aren't you also have freedom, then they will also be productive, and they will also create more jobs, and then those jobs will pay higher wages. But there's a secondary effect that pulls politics left, which is the destruction of the middle class. When you have good, high-paying middle-class jobs, that forms the center of a conservative society, a strong family and a strong community where people are able to get a job that can pay a living wage, that can support a family, where you can have, if you want to, a one-parent working home, if you want to, a two-parent working home, but either way, you're financially secure. And you have a good education system and a good healthcare system. When you completely destabilize the labor market and the social safety net, people then begin demanding more and more and more government services because the jobs aren't paying enough. So you need more earned income tax credit, and you need to have more food stamps. And you need to have more public housing, and the education system can't keep up. So you got to keep funneling more and more and more money into that. And nobody has health insurance. I mean, how many years have we heard, Megyn, there's 30 million people that don't have health insurance. We need socialized medicine. We need socialized medicine. The vast majority of people in this country who do not have health insurance are not citizens of this country. There are many American citizens who don't have health insurance, to be clear, and they should get it, and we should make sure they do have it. But the vast majority of people who do not have insurance of any kind, in any way, any shape or form whatsoever, are not U.S. citizens. And but that's used by political parties to demand free government services. So an open border both imports the voters who will vote for one party and one ideology, but it also changes the political landscape of an entire community. So you end up with the Manhattanization of America, where you have these very large cities where nothing works, nothing is functional, nothing is safe, nothing is efficient, and the solution is always going to be you have to tax more and spend more.
It's bleak, Stephen. It's so bleak. I've been listening to the reporting on the new approach by the Biden administration, and it's all over the board, even amongst the left. I listen to NPR, I listen to the New York Times, The Daily, and read the Times as well. And even they seem to be struggling with whether these are going to be effective measures, whether they're going to be ineffective, or whether they might be even more effective than the Trump administration. They seem to actually want to be toying with, he's going to be tougher. He's going to be tougher with these reforms than Trump was on people trying to get across the border, because he's saying, if you try to do it illegally and you get caught, you're out for 5 years and you can't reapply. So you better go through the proper channels to get into this country or else, which is new for him.
Yeah. Right. So this version of events requires us to believe that he canceled every single policy that was working incredibly well, and then put in place a whole series of policies designed to make it as easy to enter the country illegally as possible. But it was really just secretly a head fake to come up with some new and different and better plan. The people who are driving immigration policy, I talked to ICE officers, I talked to border agents, and obviously I know the names of the higher ups at DHS, and of course in the White House too. Ideologically, the people who are setting policy believe that borders are racist, that borders are wrong, and that we don't have any right, morally or otherwise, to deny people entry into this country. The way they look at it, to be very blunt, Megyn, is they see, and to use sort of the language of the day, they see America as a racist colonial superpower. So this is their worldview. They think that we stole wealth and riches and plundered and pillaged from foreign countries, from indigenous people, from the developing world. And at a moral level, they see this as the ultimate act of wealth redistribution. So, we talk about reparations, Megyn. They see an open border as reparations for the developing world that they believe, not just America, but they believe the West, from the going back to the times of the British Parliament back when we were colonies. But they see that the West stole and plundered this wealth, and they think this is a form of redistribution to those who they believe are rightfully entitled to the riches of this nation. For the true believers. Biden doesn't have much going on upstairs. He's a party man, and so he is doing what his party is telling him to do, and he is doing it completely. But for the ideologues that are driving this policy, that is absolutely what they believe. And that is why they are constitutionally incapable of saying the sentence, illegal immigration is wrong. If you come into the country illegally, you have no path to release. You will be detained, you will be deported, you will be going home, and you, if possible, will be sent to jail. And if you try again, you'll be sent to jail for more than a year. One of the things that we did in the Trump administration is we aggressively prosecuted. So we didn't just deport people, but we aggressively prosecuted immigration crime. Not just immigration fraud, but 1325, USC 1325, which is the misdemeanor illegal entry, and then 1326, which is the felony illegal entry. And we aggressively prosecuted illegal border crossing to send the message that what you're doing is criminal. This is criminal. And if American citizens go to jail for the minorest violations, you get one little thing wrong in your tax forms, or you make one little mistake interacting with a regulatory agency, or you make one little mistake in Washington in terms of what box you check here or there, and you spend years and years in jail. But if you come across the country illegally in plain violation of federal law, nothing happens to you. That's wrong. And we said that's wrong. And so we prosecuted people for doing that. And Biden has completely gutted all of our prosecution initiatives. I don't remember the numbers.
Okay, but here's what he says he's coming back with. I should have been more clear about this at the top. Okay, I mentioned the new rule that they say is going to bar most people from applying for asylum if they cross the border illegally or fail to first apply for safe harbor in another country. So they're they are saying you now need to apply for asylum in another country, which is just so obvious, right? Of course, if you're truly fleeing prosecution, you're fine with Mexico. You just need to get away from the prosecution. That's not what it's about. They want to be in the United States. Sure, you can go to Brazil or Colombia or Korea and get work done to your face, but why would you do that? You don't have to leave your house to look good. It's the final week of the Genucel Mother's Day sale. Look years younger right before your very eyes. Here's a real review from Genucel.com. Claire writes, I absolutely love Genucel. My skin feels so good, tighter, younger, with a more even tone, and I only used it for a week. My advice for everyone, take a before picture. Nothing works like Genucel because it's a family recipe for over 20 years, made by a compounding pharmacist in small batches. Always safe, cruelty-free, and natural. Right now, go to Genucel.com/MK60 and save over 70% off Genucel's most popular package, all their best stuff, during their Mother's Day sale. Every most popular package features their Ultra Retinol and Dark Spot Corrector. Don't wait. Go to Genucel.com/MK60, GENUCEL.com/MK60, and get a complimentary Spa Essentials box with every package order for only one more week, plus free upgrade to priority shipping. Genucel.com/MK60. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.